in Australia, as in many places around the world, people are now asking the question, and this is the good news of this debate, Tanvir, is that people are saying that we can't keep doing business as usual. We can't keep burning coal and gas, and we can't keep putting increasing amounts of carbon into the atmosphere. So that's the positive side of the nuclear discussion. The negative side, from the perspective of the Australian Conservation Foundation and civil society groups in Australia and many other places, is that it is a dangerous distraction. It's a high-cost, high-risk industry. The existing reactor technology has been flawed with lots of problems, lots of cost overruns, the creation of long-lived high-level radioactive waste. And the promised so-called small modular reactors or next-generation reactors, none of them anywhere in the world are in commercial deployment. So that's an optimistic future rather than a proven reality. And enthusiasm isn't a bad thing, but it's not a good thing for a national energy system or a basis for a national energy policy. So we are saying that it is good that we're having the discussion because we see we need to transition, but nuclear isn't the answer. In fact, it is a distraction and a slow to the answer that we need, which is the suite of renewable energy and firmed renewables. That's energy, renewables with storage. That's the fastest growing energy sector in my country and in the world, and that's the way that we need to go to keep the lights on and the Geiger counters off.
So how do you react to opinion there, people countering that argument by saying that nuclear energy is actually green and a clean alternative to the climate crisis we are facing?
Well, one dimension of that is accurate in as much as nuclear energy in the actual generation of electricity doesn't have carbon. Throughout the entire nuclear cycle of uranium mining, mineral processing, construction of reactors, management of waste, all of those things, it isn't zero carbon. But in the moment when an atom is split and there's a controlled chain reaction and heat is released and electricity is generated, nuclear is low carbon. But it is not clean. It routinely creates multi-intergenerational high-level radioactive waste. And we've seen also in Japan, one of the most technically sophisticated nations on Earth, that after the Fukushima accident, a decade later, the best that the industry and government can come up with is to remove some contaminants from water and directly dispose or dump the rest into the Pacific, which is causing very significant concern in the Pacific. So at no stage is this industry without impact or consequence. And in my country, with considerable uranium reserves, we see leaking tailings dams, impacted communities, affected landscapes, and that threat concentrates at every stage, and we end up with high-level waste. On a bad day, we end up with massive nuclear insecurity and accidents like Fukushima, and also we have a highly weaponised power system. Like if we look at what's happening in Ukraine and the Zaporizhia nuclear plant and Russian threats there, like no one is saying what's happening at the wind farm, what's happening at the solar plant in Ukraine. We're watching, fearful, crossing our fingers about the weaponisation of nuclear.